A while back, I made a video on Goten's importance to the narrative, but that was made before I encountered an article in which psychologist Sudo Haruka analyzes the psychology behind Goten and Trunks' friendship. That honestly made my best efforts here, well...
I guess your best wasn't good enough.
You can read it at your own pace through the link in the description, but I will go over commenting on what the article mentions. The first aspect mentioned is how children seek to validate themselves through strengths and skills acquired, and how an inability to do so can bring out feelings of inferiority. Trunks and Goten's desire to get stronger and show off their abilities has them gain a healthy mindset towards their development. This is expanded on with Sudo mentioning how peers help children gain more social skills and awareness on their strengths and weaknesses that may otherwise be stunted. This lines up very well with how Toriyama writes children as Gohan without any peers of his age, being more emotionally unstable and reactive concerning things outside of studying. This also gives some insight into why Goten can't bring out more power through rage like Gohan can. Goten got the upbringing to naturally bring out his potential, whereas Gohan's more sheltered and then extreme upbringing by the time of being Buu at Goten's age would at best be described as sporadic childhood development. This shows how well Goten and Trunks' bond lines up with real childhood friendships, but contrary to that, here, Sudo mentions that Trunks giving Goten a handicap, or Goten being upfront on Trunks being his superior, is very realistic for two children with roughly a year's difference in age. The biggest difference to make their bond stand out is Trunks being mature enough to treat Goten charitably, compared to many older children being fine to not give such charity to younger ones. Sudo compares Trunks to an older brother, which creates a consistent insight into their bond, not seeming to have any other friends of that age. Trunks and Goten practically treat each other as family, which may have influenced Trunks' more mature aspects. On the flip side, Trunks' maturity has its limits, with his contradiction between wanting to seem superior and breaking the rules when they don't go his way, due to a desire to win, fitting with his age and, what Sudo didn't note, his more spoilt upbringing as a rich kid with an abundance of freedom. On the subject of entitlement, a major difference compared to most children their age is their abilities and bloodlines providing them a sense of purpose most children don't have. Their family and how they compare to them, acting as a benchmark for what they can become without any doubt. Something increased with the importance others place on them as the story continues, and the reason as to why Gotenks was too overconfident to fulfill these expectations that are even more relevant with the next section. It's when learning of Babidi that the duo show no fear in this opportunity for adventure, which makes sense. Both children have lacked any scenario that presented a genuine danger to them, and what they'd experienced from sparring with their relatives will present the idea that they, and by extension anything they can imagine, could be countered by their combined efforts, thus creating overinflated egos multiplied even further when they fuse. On top of that, their strong bond and the general mischief a child can get up to, with one being the bad influence. Add to this with Trunks being the one to encourage Goten to disguise as Mighty Mask or go to Babidi. Again, it's no surprise Gotenks embodied such arrogant traits when Trunks' more dominant personality shined in the fusion and brought this aspect of mischief to a new level, especially when adding in the series' exploration on Cyan biology that would compel them to test themselves even further than even the most curious of human children. When it comes to how the boys handle the loss of their parents as a reason to become stronger, Sudo makes a good point on the difference to how most children would react, showing the Cyan side of their psychology in wanting to prove themselves greater than their parents. This is, of course, after Goku gave them such advice, with Goten and Trunks' crying, showing how emotionally open and empathetic they are with each other. Sudo noting that these losses brought them closer together together is very true when you consider Goten's reaction following Chi-Chi's demise. Initially distressed and angry at this, he takes into account Piccolo reiterating what Goku advised, and takes enough of a serious approach to become Trunks' equal in ki and skill by the time Buu faces them. Trunks brings Goten's attitude back to normal after their weak perfecting fusion. That shows the importance of a friend being able to bring someone back from a low point. Concerning Goten and Trunks' actions at the end of the manga, Sudo not only notes it as being very realistic of teenagers in a peaceful environment, but that their take on romance may be based on their own friendship. When taken psychologist Harry Sullivan's belief that the openness within childhood friendships, as with Goten and Trunks, may help them be more open and communicative when it comes to romantic relationships later in life. Their role in helping bring about a peaceful world is also something I'm glad Sudo brought up, as the way events went through Gotenks' actions created a domino effect of Goku's return, the Earthlings protecting themselves through the Super Genki Dama, and Goku's ideal rival and successor being allowed to be tutored by him eventually. Another thing about their bond Sudo brings up is how integral their friendship was on who they became as people. Goten wouldn't be able to make use of his power without play fighting with Trunks, and likely wouldn't be as expressive without a peer his age. Trunks likely wouldn't have the drive or experience to bring out strength that would impress Vegeta, if not testing himself against the son of his father's rival. I mentioned Trunks' status as a spoiled rich kid before, and it's interesting to contrast him with the most notable example of one in the manga, other than his mother, Frieza. Sure, Trunks would never turn out like that, but he would likely have a sense of natural superiority to others, if not for a rival to keep him on his toes, and positively impact his mindset. It's with this that we see the importance of Goten's inclusion in order to make Trunks' present self an expressive character to bounce off him. The last point Sudo brings up goes back to some mentioned before, in that Goten and Trunks are children held up to the standards of their incredibly accomplished fathers, that make them burdened with expectations. This would weigh heavily on most children, but through their shared experiences and empathy towards each other, they gain the confidence as a duo to stand up to whatever they are challenged with. It's with this that we are given a thorough analysis on why Goten and Trunks' bond aids their characters, is realistic to what's expected psychologically of children in their position, and how it contrasts with children in the narrative such as Goku or Gohan, missing a peer of a similar age. Thank you for checking out this analysis, and do read through the whole article, as I can't thank Sudo-sensei enough for her thoughts provided here. I have plenty of other analyses on the channel you may want to see, and may cover others within the Dragon Ball official site in the future to spread awareness of them, so whether you're a returning or new viewer, stay tuned for them. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to keep updated on future analyses, and I'll see you next time.